Hello, welcome to Longshot Larry Sports Astrology. Today we're looking at the FIFA World Cup final between Argentina and France. We're going to be looking at three different methods here. We're going to look at the game chart using the Frawley method, how the teams align during the game, and we've been talking about the mundane charts, the eclipses and new moons, ingresses. We'll be looking at some of those. So here's the odds to actually win the World Cup outright. So you can see Argentina $1.90, France $1.90. The bookmakers don't know. There's no clear favourite. You do need a favourite to be able to set the ascendant and descendant. So we can't use that method. So that is a big downer. So if this wasn't the World Cup final, I wouldn't be looking at this game. But everyone wants a opinion, so let's charge ahead anyway. So here's the chart for the final. You can see we've got a Cancerian ascendant, so we use the ruler of Cancer, the moon, to represent the ascendant, which is in Libra, so Venus rules the ascendant. We've got a Capricorn descendant, so Saturn rules the descendant. And Mars rules the Aries MC. So, who is the ascendant? That is the question. I'm only speculating. I don't know. You could argue that Argentina is the ascendant, being the sentimental favourites. No offence to French supporters, but from my understanding, a lot of neutral fans would like to see Messi win the World Cup. And Argentina are a Cancerian nation, and Messi is also a Cancer, so you could argue that the ascendant represents Argentina. You could also argue that because France are the reigning champions, they are the ascendant. So there's no clear answer on that. But anyway, what's going on in the chart? So you've got Venus, which rules the ascendant, is applying to the descendant. It's outside that 3-degree area, just. So I can't really count that, but that will be a strong indication for the ascendant team. You have the North Node just outside 2 degrees, a 2-degree orb with the part of fortune, which would be another one for the ascendant, but it's just outside. And if we look at the Antisca positions, so looking at the Antisca positions, we can see that Mars here is in the first house. It does rule the 10th. It's outside that 3-degree area, so we can't really include that either. Now, if the game does start a little bit later, it will push Mars up. We'll push these two closer together. However, Venus will move further away. So it's probably a minor benefit for the ascendant team. However, we don't know who the ascendant is. If you think you know who the ascendant represents in this chart, put it in the comments. Be very interested in your thoughts. The other thing we got, what aspects have we got going on today at the start of the game? Well, Mars is in Gemini. It's applying to a sesquiquadrate, 135-degree aspect of Pluto, 6 minutes away, quite close. Won't be exact during the game. That's indicative of a real slugfest, a war of attrition. Whoever lasts, that's a Mars-Pluto sort of thing. The heavy hitters, you've got Jupiter is applying to a semi-square to Uranus, about 30 minutes away. Jupiter and Uranus together tend to indicate big momentum changes, a lot of ebbing and flowing in the game. One stage it's going to look like France is going to win, another stage it looks like Argentina is going to win. That's the biggest aspect in operation today. You also see that Venus is just past the trine to the part of fortune. It is separating, so once again we can't use that. If it was applying, you would probably read that as another one for the favourite or ascendant team, but it's past, so we can't use that. So how do the teams line up to this chart? So we look at the chart for Argentina. See, the Sun is close to the ascendant. Mercury is opposing the Sun. We've got Venus is opposing Venus. Nothing major there. The Moon is exactly trying the Saturn of Argentina at the start, which I think is an important degree area for Argentina. I'll explain that shortly. If we look at the Argentinian coach Scaloni, the Moon is in a good position for him. It was in a similar position in their semi-final, but it's in Libra down here. It's going to trine his Venus first of all, and Venus is important because it rules his Taurian sun, so it's a symbol of success. It's then going to go on and sextile his Saturn, so it's triggering his Venus sextile Saturn alignment, which is good. However, he does start with his South Node conjunct the MC, which is not too good. So I don't think Argentina are going to start this game very well. And if we look at Lionel Messi, his Mercury is also being opposed by Mercury. The Moon is going to be sextile his Uranus, which is part of that degree area for Argentina. There is some debate about the time of Messi's birth here. Apparently his mother said it was closer to 4:20 p.m. Official time is 8:30. I don't know, so I'm not going to rely on the MC and the position of the moon. I'm just going to stay clear of those at the moment. You'll see he's also got Neptune trine his Mars, which seems to be helpful. It's like a very fluid sort of alignment. Natally, his Jupiter is exactly trine or very closely trine Uranus, which is good resonance to that Jupiter semi-square Uranus aspect in operation. Moving on to France, the country. See that Mars is just past a trine to the Sun there. Venus is applying to the MC, so the part of fortune is trine to MC, that's helpful. You'll see the Moon is just past the node, and I'll explain that when we get onto the coach's chart. And the other thing is Venus is on the IC at the start. Venus rules the Sun. It would be stronger if it was on the MC to indicate victory, but France is probably going to start quite well. The only issue I can really see in the French chart is that Saturn here is 21 Cancer 10. It is just past a quincunx to the Moon. Now the Moon is pretty important in these big games because it represents the public and their emotional state. Now Saturn is separating just, however Saturn is the only planet you can really say that its effects lingers a little bit after. So that is really only the negative for the French chart I can see there. The French coach, he looks fantastic. So the Moon is actually just past a conjunction to his Sun. He has a Sun opposite Saturn, sextile MC natally. But he's got a lot of other good things going on. His Moon is trying to MC at the start, which if you remember links in with the Venus for France down here. He's also got his progressed Jupiter and Uranus are down here at 3 degrees Libra. He's got Uranus trine his Mars, applying about 30 minutes. He's got Neptune, he's past a quincunx to his Sun and applying to a trine to his Venus, and Venus rules his Libran Sun. And Venus is conjunct Neptune natally, so that looks good. He's also got Saturn up here at 21 Aquarius. Now when France won the UEFA Nations League in 2021, Jupiter was in this degree. So Saturn is applying to a trine to his Sun 1 degree, and that's very helpful. However, his Sun is opposite Saturn natally. So a Saturn trine Sun isn't going to be as powerful as it normally would be. And Saturn is just past a sextile to his MC. So, but overall you'd have to say he has the best chart out of everything I've looked at during the game today. Now the French captain Loris, he's a Capricorn with his Sun conjunct Neptune. Couldn't see a great deal going on for him today. He does have the Moon's going to sextile his Uranus early on, which rules his MC. So once again that sort of highlights that France is probably going to start strong, but not a great deal else. Okay, moving on to the mundane charts. So this is one I haven't brought up before, which is the Libra ingress. So the idea is that that has an influence of 3 months or so, which takes us to the end of the tournament. So at the Libra ingress in Argentina, Buenos Aires, you can see Mars is trine the MC very closely, and the Mars for Argentina is down here on the IC, and Mars is sextile that. So I think that's helpful. You would be a little bit concerned about Uranus square the MC within that 2 degree area, but yeah, it's probably better for Argentina there. I would note that the Mars of the coach is also in this degree area, and the progressed Mars of Messi is also down here. Looking at the solar eclipse, once again you can see that 15 Leo, so that's all the Marses for Argentina are going to be on the midheaven there. I think the important one here, which I've mentioned before, is this solar eclipse is trine the Sun for Messi, and that's pretty positive, I think. And if we look at this powerful lunar eclipse, I've mentioned this in the first video, it's at 16 Scorpio, Taurus conjunct Uranus. It is applying to a nice trine and sextile to the Argentine Sun at 17 Cancer, so that looks good. This is the Libran ingress set for Paris, France, capital of France. You can see in this one that the South Node for the French Republic is on the MC at the time of this Libran ingress. And if we look at the coach, his Saturn is up there at the time of this Libran ingress. So Don't know how to read that. I'd say it's probably a slight negative for France. If you look at the solar eclipse, which is quite benign, you can see that once again French coach, his MC is on the ascendant, which is handy, which is also the Saturn for France. It is square his moon, it is quite wide, so that looks okay. If we bring up the captain, Loris, you can see that this eclipse is conjunct his moon. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I know if it's conjunct the sun, it's turned out to be negative so far, but conjunct the moon, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's blocking his emotions. Not sure, but you'd have to say from the solar eclipses, Messi looks better. The Argentinian captain looks better than the French captain. Overall, probably the edge is to Argentina in these charts. So in summary here, I have no reading from the Frawley method because there's no favourite, which would be the factor I would use to sway my decision. So overall, we can't use the Frawley method, which is, I wouldn't be looking at this game usually, but everyone's here, they want to know who's going to win. If I look at the actual game day aspects, I think France looks better, and especially the French coach. If you look at the more longer term alignments, those ingresses and eclipses, definitely favours Argentina. So I really don't know who's going to win. If the mundane effects are bigger, it's going to be Argentina. If it's the game day stronger, well, it's going to be France. If you have a strong opinion, put it in the comments below. I had to really make a decision. I don't know, maybe Argentina. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.